Okay, here we go. Exercise number 5, we're gonna do the seated row. Now the seated row, the muscles that we're working are the muscles in the middle back. We're also gonna work posterior deltoid and Sue's biceps. We're gonna start off, Sue's gonna show you 3 do nots and some common mistakes people make with this exercise. So exercise, do not number 1. Now look at the position of Sue's spine, okay, when she's really getting into this machine. Notice the position, how much compressive force this is gonna put on her vertebrae and the discs of the lower back. So what Sue's gonna do, she's gonna make a quick adjustment. Notice how she slides up, gets the weight load. Look at the position now. Beautiful neutral spine. She uses her hips and her legs to push herself out. Okay, do not number 2. Now look what she's doing. Notice her spine. Her spine's rocking backwards. Okay, we want to take out any spine extension or any spine flexion. So what Sue's going to do is she's going to maintain a nice neutral spine. What do I mean by neutral spine? Look at, there's no movement at all. Do not number 3 that we usually see is excessive movement with the head. So what Sue's going to do is she's going to try not to look over the lift, as I call it. So I'm going to really encourage Sue when she's doing this, head up, look straight ahead, pull her shoulders back. Notice no movement at all at her head, looking straight ahead, and she's pulling right to her belly button. Notice 2, no movement of the spine. Beautiful neutral spine. So Sue's finishing her exercise, 2 sets, 12 to 15 reps. Notice how she moves her body in. She doesn't lean forward with the spine. Exercise number 6 is going to be your seated chest press. Now notice the positions of Sue's shoulders and elbows. Okay, elbows and shoulders are at 90 degrees. She's going to relax her head against the seat. Now all she's going to do is she's going to extend her arms. So she pushes forward, comes back, pause right there, Sue. Shoulders and elbows are lined up at 90 degrees. Notice too, she's doing a really good job of getting into scapular depression. She's not letting her traps come up into scapular elevation. So this exercise will work your chest muscles, front of your shoulders, and your triceps. With your seated chest press, once again, 2 sets, 12 to 15 repetitions. Okay, the next exercise that we're going to do is your seated leg curl. Now the seated leg curl is going to be 2 machines down from your seated chest press. So once again, Sue's going to adjust the machine to fit her body size. Makes a quick adjustment on the chair. She's going to select her weight load. Oh, we'll just make a quick adjustment on the foot pad. How's that?
Yep, so that it's under the ankles there.
Now, very important when you're doing your seated leg curl, I want you to take a look at this. Here's Sue's knee joint. All right, so how do I know I'm in the right position? Sue's knee joint is lined up with the axis of rotation of the machine. So joint in line with the axis of rotation of the machine. So 2 things I want you to keep in mind when you're doing your seated leg curl is number 1, the position of your ankle. Sue's going to put it in a little bit into dorsiflexion. What does that mean? Just pulling her toes up. Number 2, look at where Sue's hands are. She's actually physically pushing herself against the back of the machine. One of the things we don't want is we don't want her lower back popping off the machine. Okay, Sue, do you want to show us a couple reps of your seated leg curl? So notice with Sue's seated leg curl, her feet are coming all the way down and she's resisting as her legs go back up. Really important that you want to do both the concentric and eccentric portion of the contraction. What does that mean? When you're actually doing the physical work and then slowly lowering the weight up. Control the weight load. Very good job, Sue. She's keeping her lower back pressed against the chair. And you might find that you might not have a lot of flexibility in your hamstrings, so when you bring your legs up, you'll find your pelvis and lower back slide away from the chair. How do we fix that? We'll just reset our position, put our hands in, and keep our lower back against the chair. All right, here we are. We're at our next exercise now. So after our seated leg curl, we'll just walk over to the cable unit and we're gonna work on our rotator cuff. Sue, come on in. So the rotator cuff, I'm just gonna get Sue to turn around for a sec. Small little muscles on the back of the shoulder, and they're gonna be responsible for stabilizing the shoulder joint, okay? They're also gonna help with your postural synergy. So if you're spending a lot of time at the computer and keyboarding or at a desk all day, this is a fantastic exercise to help strengthen the shoulders, to pull them back more in line with true postural synergy. So this is an exercise that you do not need a lot of weight. The rotator cuff is a very, very small but yet very important muscle group. So don't put on too much weight load. Let's really make sure we're executing the movement correctly as opposed to just moving a big weight load. I want you to think when you're doing your external rotation for the shoulder, here are 2 cues I want you to think about. Number 1, all Sue's gonna think about doing is opening a door. What do I mean by that? Look at how her elbow's pinched at the side, and she's rotating her shoulder out. She's not pushing her arm out. She's rotating her shoulder. So I want you to think that your shoulder is just spinning out. And this is very important. What I want you to look at too, look at her wrist. Her wrist isn't moving. A neutral wrist. This is for your shoulder. This isn't a wrist exercise. So make sure you select the proper weight load that isn't too heavy, that helps you execute proper biomechanics. Notice too, we've got Sue's shoulder and elbow joint very close to the body, and what that's gonna do is it puts this joint in the strongest possible contracted range of motion. We get a lot of strength in this muscle group, and then we can start progressing to bringing the shoulder away from your body when executing your external rotation for the shoulder. So Sue will do 2 sets, 12 to 15 reps for both sides. All right, here we are with another fantastic exercise to help strengthen the muscles in the lower back and the obliques. This is a standing spine rotation. Notice, before we even start, Sue's gonna cue, in this position, she's gonna cue, bring her shoulders down and back, arms up, please, Sue. Okay, shoulders are down in scapular depression and scapular retraction. Let's put a little tension on there. So this is her starting point. Okay, now she's gonna rotate her spine through. Notice Sue is not moving her hips at all. Okay, this is very important. With this exercise, I want you to really think that your arms are just stabilizing the load. Sue is not pushing with her arms. She's pulling her trunk through. So the cue I like to give Sue is put your stomach in my hand. Pull through, put it in my hand. Pull through, put it in my hand. Now when you're trying this exercise, it might feel a little odd for you and you might get into too much pushing with the arms. So what we're gonna do with that to alleviate any problems with pushing with your arms is I'm gonna get you to try it with a Swiss ball. So the reason why this looks so easy for Sue is she's been practicing this a lot. We've worked a lot on her mechanics with this exercise. So I'll just get Sue to turn around. We'll give that one side of the body a break. Okay, let's do the other side. Get your rope ready, please, Sue. So I'm just gonna put this ball just around the rope, and this is gonna take any temptation for Sue to push with her arms. Now all she's doing is she's rotating the spine. Very important, I can't stress this enough, she's cueing, pulling her shoulders back in scapular retraction, scapular depression. Notice too her head. Her neck and head are not leading the movement. She's focused on the top of her ball, and the neck and head are coming along for the ride. All right, I'm gonna show you a really effective exercise for help strengthening your abdominal muscles. Now, one of the biggest mistakes people make with the abdominal muscles and trying to target them is they're working the wrong range of movement. Now, your abdominal muscles, we've got to think of them, they're gonna be moving our spine, flexing our spine. We're not pivoting at the hips. What we want to think about is rolling our rib cage up. But we're running into a problem here. Traditionally, the way we've done them ends up putting a massive amount of compressive force on the vertebrae of the spine. So what we're going to do is Sue and I are going to show you 2 quick modifications that you can make. You'll still be able to target the abdominals without putting a lot of compressive force on your spine. So first thing we're going to do is let's get Sue into optimal position. Notice right away she's got one leg bent, one leg flat on the ground. Cue number 2 that Sue's going to do is she's going to make a chin block. And what the chin block is going to do is going to prevent any excessive movement at the head. One of the biggest mistakes people make is whipping that head forward, is using the neck and shoulders to initiate movement. Look, we want to target the abdominals. not the muscles in the neck and the shoulders. So the next thing I want Sue to do is she's gonna demo a couple for them. Look how high she's lifting her body up off the ground. So what I want you to think about is we've got a book, maybe a dictionary underneath her head, and she's just lifting her head off the dictionary. Number two, this is really important, okay? What I want you to think about is that you're lifting and curling your rib cage. Lift and curl that rib cage. Pre-contract your abs. Think I'm gonna punch you in the stomach. What's your first reaction gonna be? Protect yourself. Cue number two, lift and curl the rib cage. Cue number three, notice what Sue's doing here. She's pulling her shoulders back. She's not whipping her head forward. This is a fantastic exercise because we've changed the pivot point now to the middle of your spine. We're not putting any compressive force on the vertebrae and the lower spine. Very important. Anytime you're doing an exercise and it doesn't feel right for your body, you can always modify the exercise to suit your body type. It doesn't have to be the other way around, okay? Always modify the exercise to suit your body type. Great job, Sue. We're finished our workout, but before we get to leave and go home for the day, we need to show you a couple quick stretches. So we're gonna work on 3 stretches. The first one will be your calf stretch. In the calf stretch, I'll show you a great stretch to target your calf muscles. All right, so here we go. We're gonna do a quick calf stretch. Now, one of the biggest mistakes I make when people are doing their calf stretch is they'll do a traditional heel drop. So notice with the heel drop, look at where the pivot point is, mid-metatarsal, and we're just letting our heel drop. Unfortunately, you are not stretching your muscle in this position. Sue, can I get you back up there, please? Okay, in this position, heels dropping down. This is not a stretch, this is actually an eccentric contraction for your calf muscle. Now, if we want the muscle to stretch, we need it to relax. It cannot be contracting eccentrically. So we'll make one quick adjustment. Sue, come on down. Notice what we've done now. Pivot point now is at the heel, not mid-metatarsal. Now this muscle is not contracting eccentrically. It can relax to stretch. So Sue has her heel on the ground, toes up, and she'll hold this stretch for 30 seconds. She'll feel her muscle melt, and then she's gonna come a little deeper, toe will go a little higher. Notice how she's letting her toe sply on the post, and then she drops her heel down. So 3 times, 30 seconds, you feel your muscle melt, go into a deeper position. All right, the next stretch we're gonna do is we're gonna do for our hamstrings. Now, Sue's gonna put her leg up, really important. Knee is straight, okay? Leg, and instead of moving her spine, bending forward, we want to avoid putting any more compressive force on that spine. I'm going to come up, neutral spine. Instead of bending her spine forward, it's all in your hips. So I'm going to get Sue to lift her hips up, and she's just going to drop her chest a little bit into my hand. Look at this position, nice neutral spine, really engaging the hips. Knee straight. Now Sue does a lot of running, and I know she has very, very tight hamstrings. So what I'm gonna get her to do is I'm gonna get her to do a more effective stretch for her hamstrings lying down on the ground. So notice what Sue does. She grabs a skipping rope. She's lying down on the ground. One leg is gonna be flat on the ground. She's gonna bring her other leg up. Why do I like this one with the skipping rope? Well, notice right away, look at how relaxed her shoulders are. Why do we need to keep putting our shoulders in a position that causes a lot of strain to the neck muscles? So once again, knee is straight. She's holding her first position. She'll hold for 30 seconds. She feels that muscle melt, and then I'm gonna show Sue a little trick. We're gonna actually fan the hamstring muscle. So first position, neutral. Second position, I'm gonna get her to bring her leg out. So she'll hold that for 30 seconds. She feels her muscle melt, and then she'll go to the next position. Next position, we've done neutral, we've done out. Number 3, ding, 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 you are right. Let's go across the body. And this might feel a little weird for you the first time that you do it. So what you want to think about is toe into this armpit. Go into dorsiflexion. All right, here we are with our chest stretch. Now this stretch is really, really important. A couple things I want you to remember. Number 1, elbow is in line with Sue's shoulder joint. You can even have that elbow down just a little bit lower. Number 2, now this is very, very important. We're looking for a stretch across the front of the chest. We're not looking for a stretch on the shoulder joint itself. One of the things that we have to remember is to protect the integrity of the joint capsule. So, not an excessive stretch on your shoulder joint, looking more for the front of the chest. Sue's got her arm 90 degrees, looking straight ahead, and what she's gonna do is she's just gonna rotate her spine just a little bit, and she's feeling it all across her chest. Notice too the position of Sue's head and neck, okay? What we wanna avoid when we're doing this stretch is looking over top of the lift. So what do I mean by that is that people will get into this position and start turtling when they're doing this stretch. It's not about moving your neck and head, it's all in the angle of your shoulder. All right, that brings us to the end of showing you exactly step by step what to do when you're in here. Now, we're gonna be very honest with you. You need to do the work. There is no reap without the sow. Sue, how long have you been doing this for?
I've been doing it for a few years, but with you for over a year now, and it's just been fantastic. I mean, we've really worked hard, and I've reaped the benefits from it.
And that's the most important thing. Look, guys, I know this is going to be a very, very difficult journey for you, but you stay consistent, you're patient, and you persevere, and you're going to get the results that you want. Thanks so much.